All right, everybody. After a crazy finish to the first NFL Week 18, we finally made it to the playoffs. In this video, I'll be talking about my playoff and Super Bowl predictions, going through the bracket game by game, giving you a quick prediction. If you want a more in-depth analysis, check out our other videos where we'll be taking on each game in a more detailed look, where I'll give you my picks for winners and also against the spread and things like that. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a like and keep subscribing to get more content like this as well. But here we're looking at the playoff bracket right now as of the Raiders win on Sunday night against the Chargers. I'm going to start talking about each matchup, starting with the NFC, and direct your attention to the top left portion where you got the Cardinals taking on the Rams in LA. The third time this year that these opponents will match up, with the Cardinals and Rams each winning one game on the road. As you would expect with the divisional game, but especially in the playoffs, seeing each other for the third time this year, I'm anticipating this game to be pretty close. But there's one big area in a mismatch among these teams that I think gives the Rams the edge, and that's their D-line. Just going to be completely overpowering the Cardinals' offensive line. The Cardinals have had trouble protecting Kyler Murray his entire career, and this year has been no different. It doesn't take you that long. Just back on Sunday in Week 18 when they played the Seahawks, Murray got sacked 5 times. The Seahawks were in the backfield making tons of tackles for losses, and that's what the Seahawks have maybe an average defense, if you want to call it that. The Rams, especially in their front seven, have some great pass rushers with Leonard Floyd, Von Miller, and Aaron Donald. If the Seahawks can get to Murray as often as they did, I would expect the Rams to be living in the backfield as well. And if you're not going to get Kyler Murray time to throw, especially with his best receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, out, it's going to be tough for them to beat the Rams this game. That's why I got the Rams moving on. Looking at the next game with the Cowboys at home taking on the 49ers. This game is going to be close as well, and that's what the odds makers are saying. It's the Cowboys are favored by 3 points at home this game, implying that on a neutral site, this would basically be a coin flip game. Both these teams have varying strengths. The Niners are really good in the run game, both offensively and defensively, one of the top running units on both sides of the football. And then the Cowboys have so many weapons on offense that they, especially in the passing attack, they can throw to you. And then defense, they have a few key playmakers like Micah Parsons, the rookie, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Trayvon Diggs that are apt at forcing turnovers. So in the playoffs, especially, winning the turnover battle is huge. And so is having a great quarterback. And the Cowboys have both those. The Niners are pretty good at forcing turnovers too, but right now they're starting cornerback Jimmy Garoppolo, torn ligament in his throwing hand. He's in constant pain. That's definitely going to weigh a toll no matter how good or how healthy he says he is and whether he's playing or not. That's going to affect his accuracy and his performance. And that's kind of thing, especially if you're an underdog on maybe a subpar caliber team when compared to the Cowboys, that's really not going to help your cause. And so I think that hand injury from Jimmy G and, just the fact that he's not a superstar quarterback is going to hurt the Niners in this game, and that's why the Cowboys are going to win. This next game with the Eagles and the Bucks, talk about a disparity in quarterback play. You got Tom Brady, clearly the greatest quarterback of all time, especially in the playoffs, taking on Jalen Hurts. Passing is not the specialty of this Eagles offense. They rely heavily on the run game, especially with or not especially, but on top of that, their quarterback Jalen Hurts can add to that run game as well. But this Buccaneers is one of the best, if not the best, run stopping unit in the NFL. I've been saying that all year long. Nothing's changed on that. So they're going to force Jalen Hurts to throw the football and be accurate and throw it to his wide receivers, and that's just not what this team is built to do. Tom Brady, of course, is going to be slinging the ball left and right to guys like Godwin and Evans, Gronkowski as well. So I don't anticipate the Eagles putting up much points to hang with the Bucs here, as the Buccaneers win this game handily, in my opinion. Going to the AFC now, we're looking at the top right with the Raiders, surprise 5 seed this season, take on the Bengals, surprise divisional winner in the AFC North. These guys faced off in Cincinnati earlier this season, with the Bengals winning that one. And I don't expect much to change here, especially now as the Bengals have been hitting their stride lately, with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase especially really clicking as a duo there, quarterback wide receiver combo. I love Joe Mixon at running back. It provides a great run game too for the Bengals. These teams both have average defenses, so nothing really to write home about on that side of the football. I'd rather have right now Joe Burrow, and especially with his trio of wide receivers, than Derek Carr and that Raiders offense with their star tight end Darren Waller playing but not completely healthy. So for that reason, I think the Bengals are going to keep rolling and they're going to beat the Raiders here. Another divisional matchup in the playoffs with the Bills and the Patriots. Again, both teams split the series. Again, both wins coming on the road for each team. Both these teams have incredible defenses. What really separates these guys is the offensive talent that the Bills have compared to the Patriots. The Bills really rely on the passing game, not much for a run game from a pure running back standpoint. They do get a proxy in the run game with Josh Allen and how mobile he is, but they don't run the ball between tackles with running backs very often. The Patriots are the exact opposite. They want to run the ball as much as they can between the tackles behind their great O-line and not have to rely on the rookie quarterback, Mac Jones. As long as there's not inclement weather like you saw in Buffalo the first time these two team played, I think Buffalo will take care of business, especially with Josh Allen, Diggs, and Dawson Knox, Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, all these guys on the Buffalo passing attack. It's going to be too much for the Patriots. Mac Jones is going to need to do more than become a game manager in this game. And he's proven this season that he's not very comfortable or not capable in that role with how this Patriots offense is configured. So I think it's a little too early for Mac Jones to step up as a rookie in his career in this big of a game against this good a defense in Buffalo. For that reason, I think the Bills come out on top. And then the last game in this wildcard round with the Chiefs and Steelers, the Chiefs put up 13 points in their win to clinch the playoffs in week 18. They're going to need a lot more than 13 points if they want to beat the Chiefs here. Plain and simple, Big Ben cannot do that. If you look at his box score, he throws like 25 completions for like 150 yards. This guy's air yardage per attempt are basically all screens and checkdowns for his running back. That's not going to cut it against the Chiefs when they're going to be putting up big points. I don't think this game's going to be all that close with the Chiefs dominating the Steelers. So move on to the divisional round. Again, we'll start in the top left portion of the NFCs. We get our first look at the Packers in the playoffs. In this game, it's really going to come down to quarterback, in my opinion. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers has the edge over just about any quarterback in the NFL, but especially over Matt Stafford. Stafford hasn't played in too many big playoff games in his career. I think he's got one when he lost to the Saints way back when, like 2012. But the big thing is here among quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers does not make mistakes very often, almost never. And Matt Stafford is good for a pick or two a game, and that's just not going to cut in the playoffs. Rodgers has been so precise and lethal this year, really getting connections with obviously Devontae Adams, but guys like Allen Lazard have stepped up too in a big role in their receiving game. They got two really good running backs with Dillon and Jones back there too. If Matt Stafford can throw the ball as much as he has been in this Rams offense against this takeaway-heavy Packers defense with Jair Alexander coming back, I'm anticipating Stafford to make one too many mistakes this game to beat the Packers, who've looked really good on both sides of the football this year, obviously, especially on offense. And the Packers are going to win their first game in the playoffs this year. Probably what might be the best game of this postseason, if and when it happens, is a week one rematch between the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. That week one, the Buccaneers, I think they won 31-29, just by 2 points against the Cowboys. In a game the Cowboys did not play very well. I think Dak Prescott had 3 interceptions, maybe a fumble added on to that. So the Cowboys really gave the ball and gave the win to the Buccaneers that game. I don't anticipate them doing that this game, as the Buccaneers secondary is probably the weakest unit of this team. Again, a very strong front seven, Tom Brady, a very capable offense, but where they get beat is with really lethal passing attacks from their opponent, and that's exactly what the Cowboys have. The great receivers in Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz at tight end, who's a great weapon they've been using all year. It's really hard for me to pick against Tom Brady in the playoffs, but that's exactly what I'm going to do right now, just because of how weak that secondary is in Tampa Bay. I think Cowboys defense has a penchant for forcing turnovers, and one of the key players that I mentioned on defense is going to come up big this game to give the Cowboys the win against Tom Brady and knock him out of the playoffs. Looking at the top right of the AFC, we got the Titans at home in their first game in the playoffs, take down the Bengals. The thing about the Titans, it all depends on if Derrick Henry's going to come back and how healthy he is. He's coming off injury reserve, and he's looking like he just might play, but it all depends on how healthy he is. If Derrick Henry is 90% to 100% healthy, and this Titans offense keeps rolling like it is, I think they're going to beat the Bengals. That being said, that's too many question marks for me to put my faith in the Titans, who have a pretty one-dimensional. They have one star on offense, that's A.J. Brown. If you can limit him, you really limit that offense. On defense, there's nothing to write home about. They've definitely been getting better with defensive-minded head coach Mike Vrabel really riding the ship there from the start of the season. They got a lot better, especially with key players like Simmons on the D-line, fixing a lot of their pass rush and rushing woes. So I think they're a solid team, but right now the Bengals are so hot. I don't think the passing attack and the offensive of the Titans are going to be able to hang with just how solid the Bengals offense is as a whole. Bengals don't have all that great of a defense, but it's certainly average enough to bottle up the Titans enough where I think the Bengals get this win, and the Titans will have a hard time stopping that high-powered offense that the Bengals have been showing the last few weeks. And this last matchup in the AFC is something that we're not strangers to in the playoffs, with the Bills taking on the Chiefs for the third consecutive year. The last 2 seasons, the Chiefs have come out victorious, but I do believe that It's time for the Bills to take revenge and win this game. And the main reason is the defense here. The defenses of these two teams cannot be more different. The Bills have one of the strongest units in the NFL, especially in the passing game on defense. And the Chiefs have one of the weakest units in the NFL, especially the run defense. Now, the Bills don't run the ball that much, but I'm expecting them to have a game plan against the Chiefs where they're going to start trying to run a little bit more power running offense against the Chiefs, because that's something that they prove they just can't stop. Against the Broncos in Week 18, everybody, including everyone on the Chiefs sideline, knew the Broncos were going to run the football, and the Chiefs still couldn't stop it. And it resulted being in a much closer game than it should have been. Ultimately, the Chiefs won that game because the Broncos just really don't have that strong an offense, but that's not going to be the case when they play the Bills. So if this defense doesn't make any adjustments, it needs to make some big adjustments, especially if they want to beat this Bills team. I don't think it's going to get it done. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to bail that defense out this time, and the Bills are going to win this matchup. Looking at the conference championship matchups, again, we'll start with the NFC. Packers playing the Cowboys. This is the matchup I'm really hoping to see on the NFC. This is probably going to be the closest game, in my opinion, with two really strong offenses, two pretty strong defenses, just really good quarterback play, passing attack, solid run game, just two really well-rounded teams on all aspects in all phases of the football game. At the end of the day, I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers probably winning this game in a 2-minute drill. Again, it's hard to stop the connection that he has with Davante Adams. They got great talent on both sides of the football, and the Packers have been playing really well all year, and they're only getting better as they get healthier, and that first-round bye is going to be huge for them. Their two best players outside of Aaron Rodgers, David Bakhtiari at left tackle and Jair Alexander at cornerback. Those are two all-pros the Packers are getting back, and they've already been playing stellar this year. Give me the addition of both those players, and that's enough for me to beat the Cowboys. As long as Aaron Rodgers doesn't make mistakes, he doesn't do that often. Dak Prescott has made more of his fair share of mistakes this season. And again, it all comes down to turnovers in the playoffs and making opportune plays on defense. I think the Packers do that here, and that's going to lead them to a Super Bowl potential win against one of these teams in the AFC. I think it's going to be the Bills who see me knocking out the Bengals here. It's, Joe Burrow's a young cornerback. This is a young Bengals team that is inexperienced. 1 year ago, these guys won 5 games. Now they're looking at, potentially an AFC conference championship. I don't think this team is ready yet, especially not to compete with the Bills, who have a great defensive presence. I don't think they have a strong enough defense to match up with the Bills passing attack. And for that reason, especially going into Buffalo, one of the hardest places to win on the road, the Bills are going to face off against the Packers in the Super Bowl. This game, honestly, especially at a neutral site, I could see this one going either way. You could easily convince me that either of these teams will win the game. But as I've been saying, it comes down to one man alone. That's Aaron Rodgers. He's been having an MVP, unreal season, virtually unstoppable, mistake-free football. But the thing that's different this year, Rodgers is making the playoffs every year, and that's nothing new. But what's different this year is he's got great support from his running backs this year, solid O-line. He's got a run game that he can lean on. He's not just throwing to Davante Adams anymore, who's the only guy to look to in this offense. Like I said, Allen Lazard has really stepped up in this offense and become a key player in that passing attack you saw on Sunday against the Lions. I think he scored 2 touchdowns. He's really come into his own as a legitimate number 2 threat in that offense. And then on defense, what they do lack is a pass rush, but the Bills lack that same aspect. Really solid in the secondary, but really good at forcing opportune interceptions and turnovers. Look at their game against the Cardinals in the middle of the season. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals in the red zone as time's about to expire, about to knock off the Packers. And then, I think it was Russell Douglas interception in the end zone to steal the game for the Packers. It's just those kind of plays that have been defining the Packers season. And that's why I think they're going to win this game. Again, going to be a really close game. Going to come over to turnovers. The Bills defense really good at forcing turnovers too. So whoever makes that first mistake is who's going to lose this game. I'm just anticipating it's going to be the Packers that win this one. And Rodgers, with his 4th MVP and 2nd Super Bowl, is going to add that to his mantle. And what I think is going to be capping off a great season for this Packers team. This is a reminder. We got our sponsored Prize Picks. If you sign up for the code PROPICS, they'll match your deposit up to $100. Nothing crazy there. But again, so Packers win the Super Bowl. I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Let me know in the comment section who you're picking and what you think is going to happen in this NFL playoffs. But best of luck watching and betting on the playoffs on this great year for a Packers Super Bowl.